Good afternoon. Welcome to 3 o'clock with SOC. Give me a second while we welcome Gabe on today because she will be co-moderating with me. Hola, Gabe. I'm going to hand it over to you.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of 3 o'clock with SOC. We're thankful that you're here with us. Give me just a second as we welcome our Spanish-speaking neighbors onto the interpretation services. Buenas tardes, muchísimas gracias por estar aquí con nosotros en otro foro comunitario en vivo, hoy el día 24 de julio. Como siempre, ustedes pueden escuchar el foro en español a través de una llamada de conferencia y el número que hay que marcar es 646-749-3122 y el código para entrar es 779-328-221 y el número aparece aquí en la pantalla. Y también acuérdense que ustedes siempre pueden ver los videos traducidos en español después del foro en vivo. Siempre subimos los videos traducidos en español a nuestra página de Facebook y también YouTube. I was just reminding folks that we always upload our videos, a recording of our live forums onto our Facebook page and to our YouTube. So if you're ever unable to be with us live, you always have that option to see the guests and the information that we share on the forums afterwards. So please know that that's always an option for you all. I'm Gabe Charles. I'm the Civic Engagement Manager with SOC. Happy to be here moderating today. And I do want to remind everyone that you can reach us in all of the ways that you would typically reach us, except in person. And that's our phone number, through our email, through our websites. 414-672-8090 is our phone number. soc@socmilwaukee.org is our email. And then www.socmilwaukee.org is our website that has tons of information, civic information, coronavirus information, any kind of resources that one might need will appear on that website. So definitely check that out. And we are all still working from home, which is why you don't see me wearing a mask, but we will definitely keep everyone updated when we decide to change that, which we aren't sure yet. We're trying to stay safe. There are still spikes on the south side, so we want to make sure we're keeping our staff safe. Also, please fill out our SOC survey. We have said multiple times how important it is for us to be doing this, for you all to be doing this survey, right? It really helps inform how we show up for these forums and how we service you all with the information that we have on the forum. So please be filling out that SOC survey. And then I also just want to provide the disclaimer that the views and opinions shared today do not necessarily reflect those of SOC. As mentioned in previous forums, we're a certain kind of organization that can only claim certain things, but we definitely always want to be opening it up for different voices and opinions to be shared. So we always want to have some meaningful conversations. We got a great show for you all today. We have Nelson Soler on with us again to finish up our week about individual and business economics. And now I'm going to welcome Tammy back on to have that conversation with him and give some other brief updates before welcoming on our guest.
We've been listening to your feedback, and also the staff has been discussing amongst ourselves how we can strengthen the program. And to avoid my voice being the Charlie Brown mom's voice of Waka Waka Waka, we're going to change it up and have our staff share in moderating the forum, but also for their growth and your ability to build relationships with them and them with you. And so I appreciate Gabe, who moderated today, and Marlene yesterday, and you'll be seeing more of our staff share that, and I'll stay with you as much as possible for the critical updates. As Gabe said, we have a great partner, personal friend, professional colleague with us today. But before bringing him on, I just want to share that not only is he on with us today, but he has partnered with us this week to bring individual and business economy theme to the week and get information out to you. Let me tell you what's going on though next week, because again, you don't want to miss the critical programming that we're providing through the forum, education, awareness, your access to people of power and authority and subject matter experts. Next week, we're going to just start to tackle the issue of racial justice, keeping in mind that our Southside district is 70% Latino, 20% white, and 8% African American, and a smidgen of other populations and communities among us. And so that issue of racial justice is wide and it's deep and it's longstanding. So we're not going to claim any kind of major, coverage of it next week. We just want to introduce some concepts and conversations that we hope to build on at our grassroots organizing conference that we do each year, at our quarterly summits, as things clear up and we can get back to some sense of normalcy when we're all safe. All right. Monday, Dr. Tony Baez, who's a regular guest on the forum now, so privileged to have his wisdom with us. He's going to give us a introduction to racism. We don't want to assume or not assume how much you know. And so he'll be discussing that, things like structural, systematic racism, historic racism, how conquering and colonizing has impacted racial justice, etc. And then we have another repeat guest, Reggie Jackson from America's Black Holocaust Museum, and he's going to be on. We haven't settled some of our other guests. There'll be more people doubling up and other people with us, but just need to confirm the days they're going to be on. But Reggie is going to be with us on Tuesday. And Tuesday, we're going to be talking about internalized racism. What are the messages and experiences we have from whatever country we came from, or from here, the States, that give us a challenge in appreciating our own racial makeup, especially as we consider the majority of our population Latino, and which is a mix of heritage, right? In many cases, African, European, and whatever indigenous Indians for indigenous peoples. For instance, in Puerto Rico was the Tainos. And so we're going to be exploring internal racism amongst individually ourselves, but our own communities. And then I am so excited that we've been able to schedule in a legacy leader in the migrant worker rights, Jesus Salas, and he's going to be addressing the issue of cultural identity. In his case, in particular, is Chicano identity, and we hope to have some other ethnic and heritage groups with us to discuss what it means to be. In my case, I say Milwaukeean, right? I was born and raised in Milwaukee, but my grandparents and parents were from Puerto Rico. And so looking very much forward to that discussion. And then on Friday, Dr. Rob Smith from Marquette University and the chair of the County Human Rights Commission is going to be on with us. And he's going to be tackling the issue of, if we were to get to the other side, what would that look like in terms of reconciliation? And he's going to do that based on the South African model, because he's doing a research study interviewing folks who participated in that reconciliation initiative there. I'm fascinated about that, want to hear all about that. So you don't want to miss next week. And then we're not quite sure. There's so much to cover. If we go 2 weeks and add another week of that, or if we jump right into the next topic, will be law enforcement reform. You've heard a lot about the issues of police brutality and long-stem racial injustice, but what would it look like to change the way we currently do things. If we use some of the money we invest in police to invest in other programs and services. And what does it mean when people say defund the police versus divert some money from the police versus other law enforcement reforms that are going on? So we're going to tackle that, try to understand it better, and try to come together as a community about what's the best for the community in terms of safety and law enforcement. All right. With that, I'm looking forward to today's program. So I'm going to invite Nelson Soler to come on.
Hello, how are you?
Hola, Nelson.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Listen, I'm glad you're hearing what I'm announcing. As do you hear an echo, or is that just me?
I don't hear any echo here.
Okay, that's just me. So I'm glad you heard the intro, because I know all of those topics are of importance to you as well: the racial justice, law enforcement reform, especially as the vice chair of the Fire and Police Commission. So we look forward to getting your thoughts on those as the weeks come as well. But today we're going to help folks explore entrepreneurship. As I have said before, maybe people are thinking they lost their job and this is a good time for them to start a business, or they need a second income because things are challenging, or they see a need or opportunity that's not met, or it's always been their dream. So go ahead, and how about you just share again what your role is, Nelson, the organizations that you have, and then let's go ahead and dig into what people need to know, what programs and resources are out there.
Great. So one of my primary roles, I'm the president of the Latino Chamber of Commerce of Southeastern Wisconsin, and we focus in business development and supporting enterprises in its 7-county region, which includes obviously Milwaukee County. I'm also the interim executive director for the Latino Entrepreneurial Network, and that organization focuses around the topic we're having today, which is how we get individuals interested in entrepreneurship and get them to accumulate financial wealth so they can achieve their financial goals as well. And I'm also a small business owner, so I've been in business for 10 years, so it has been a difficult road for me. So when I talk to people about business and running a business, I'm talking from experience. I'm not talking from a book that I read or from what my comadre told me, even though comadre Rivera has a lot of good experience on that. So I go out of my own experience. So I have run 3 businesses and still have 2 running, and I also manage 2 nonprofits, which is difficult at times to have all that on our plates.
Nelson, I just want to share with the audience that I opened a consulting business 12 years ago, 2 years after you had started your business. The first thing I did was go to Nelson and contracted his services to do all the shortcuts. That was when the recession hit. And I went solo, and I had a successful run, and then put my business kind of on hold now that I was being a mom at SOC for the organization. But I understand the firsthand challenges and needs, but also how important getting the support is. Nelson, so let's talk about what do you see like the key elements people need to know when they're considering opening a business? If you could share that, and then maybe we could talk about the pitfalls of small business ownership or business ownership.
Thank you. So when you start a business, you're choosing a lifestyle. So you have to start it for the right reasons. A business ownership requires taking risks, which means that you can lose or gain in the process. It requires being relentless. You cannot be confronted with the first challenge and just say, "Ooh, I'm not gonna do this anymore," because it's part of the process. Failure sometimes is necessary for us to grow. If we don't do things incorrectly, we don't have a difficult client, we don't fill in a contract, we'll never learn how to do it correctly, probably. I also believe that you need to be resilient. You need to be able to bounce back, because sometimes, and I can tell you that when I started, I will make 10 calls to get one sale. And that person that got that sale was trying to negotiate price. So it's always difficult to do that. So you have to have those three basic elements integrated in whatever you do. You don't go into business because you want a job. You go into business because you want to enjoy daily getting up and enjoy what you do. You love it so much it comes through your pores. Another thing, two other characteristics is you need to recognize that once you start a business, you need to be recreating yourself all the time. Things are changing around you, client needs change, demographic change. You cannot remain static. And finally, you need to have integrity in what you do. Okay. So you don't overpromise people things your business cannot deliver. And I just had another one of those experiences 2 weeks ago, in which I asked one of my students, because I always tried to test him in fixing something in my home. And he said, "I'll be here tomorrow to get it fixed." A month passed by and he hasn't come back. So I had to fix it myself. So there's nothing wrong with saying, "No, I cannot take this project," or "It will take me 2, 3 weeks to finish it." But it's very important, because it's your brand, it's you, that when you compromise to do something, that you execute. So that's on the soft side, the things that you need to do. You also need to do or get into a field that there's demand for. Okay. And I hope one of your questions is, what is growing during COVID? Because there's so interesting things happening. But that's the basics. So I don't know, you want to have a follow-up question on that, or?
Yeah, let's jump right in. There may be people who are like at the edge of their seat. Let's give them some quick win here if you want to share what opportunities are out there, and then let's talk about some of the pitfalls that you see with launching a business.
Great. So right now, we all know we're on a pandemic, and many people thought, well, all business are going to tank. There's some businesses that are not doing very well, but there are other industries that are growing, for instance. And typically, this industry do not require a lot of capital for you to get in. So that's why I wanted to talk about it. The areas that are growing is cleaning. So everybody's obsessed with cleaning right now. Obviously, you start some type of cleaning endeavor, make sure that you protect your employees and you protect yourself in the process. But I see most of my cleaning companies are looking for people, and many people are reaching out to me, how do I start a cleaning company? So that's a segment that is very interesting. And it has been consistent over the last 5 years in terms of that. Large companies are no longer having internal cleaning people. So people externally are making good money cleaning those places. The second area I see of growth is obviously deliveries. So restaurants, people are afraid to go to a restaurant, but they're inclined to take a delivery. So you have some transportation, can turn that transportation into delivery service for a restaurant, delivery service for a retail store. That area is really booming because everybody's looking for that type of delivery. The third area, I think, growing in terms of services. So services like this, services that had to do with virtual interactions, have been growing quite a bit. People coordinating seminars, people managing seminars, doing taxes online, virtually. Why? Because many people are afraid to go physically into an office. So you had to figure out how you change the type of business and endeavor you want to do. So those are the main ones. Another thing I have seen is an uptick in the demand for taco trucks, as we call their food trucks, because individuals now that they don't want to go into a restaurant, they still want to get the nice food. So the taco trucks provide them with a calculated risk during this pandemic. Now, those trends that I'm seeing in food, I don't see that they're permanent. So you got to be careful. You start a taco truck that is seasonal, that might be a good idea. But you're looking at this to be permanent, you really need to take time to plan it and think where you're going to be, because once things level off, people will go back into restaurants. So those are the four main ones.
There's a lot of opportunity there, especially I don't know what you generally hear from folks, but every other relative and friend that I have wants to go into the restaurant business, which is one of the most challenging ones. But maybe to try their heart's desire, the food truck is not a bad thing. Do a lot of people come to you with wanting to start a restaurant, Nelson?
I'll say that about 30% of the people that reach out to me is because they want to start a restaurant. The second most popular type of business lately is construction. And Milwaukee or Wisconsin in general has always enjoyed a very stable construction industry. I don't think that's going to go away. We have in Southeastern Wisconsin hubs of growth. Oak Creek is growing. There's a lot of construction downtown Milwaukee, some areas in Waukesha. So there will always be some potential for the remodeling or the new construction piece. And it's an industry also that is relatively easy to start a business and relatively easy to enter. I had clients that are totally monolingual and they're doing very well in construction.
That's good to hear. What are some of the top pitfalls you see new business owners fall into, Nelson?
The number one is to think that you can do it all. We're not Superman. We're not 6 foot tall. We're not bulletproof. So you need to be vulnerable when you're a business owner, and you need to seek help and assistance. And you need to go and seek help and assistance from people that are credible sources, not the person on the corner that just give you some information to get some money out of you. So that's number one. People go to the wrong places. The second thing I see is people not realizing that you need to plan for the worst when you have a business. And we are very proud as Latinos of using our own money, our own savings to start everything. And we don't want to go to a bank. We don't want to ask money from mama, grandma, or anybody else. I want to do it with my own money. Then you invest all your money into that idea. Third month down the road, you need a couple of $1,000s, and you don't have it because you invested it all. So sometimes we need to learn when we need to use our own resources, when we can use somebody else's resources at low cost. So when do we need financing? And surrounding ourselves with banks, attorneys, accountants that have the best interest. If you come to us or to any organization and you come with an idea, we want you to try, because as long as you try, we also grow with you. So if people will surround themselves with the right network, they will do well. And the other thing I see a lot is the lack of organization. Business is about paperwork. So you're doing business, the word in Espanol, negocio, in English, business, you're negotiating. When you negotiate, you need to memorialize everything you negotiate in writing. You need a contract. And I see many businesses failing, losing money because they didn't put things in writing, because they believe that person, Tammy, is so nice. She was so great. I went and did her roof. She didn't give me any money up front. I spent all my money because I know she was going to pay. And then she didn't want to pay me because she didn't like their color of the shingles. But she selected the color of the shingles. What can I do, Nelson? Not much, because you don't do a contract. So it's really hard to enforce a verbal contract. So it's very important that we as business owners have 2 basic skills: the ability to negotiate. Okay, negotiate means dealing with difficult clients, dealing with complaints, dealing with people that don't like you, don't like how you look. And then also memorializing everything we do in writing and organizing it in a way that will protect us, that will protect whatever we invested in.
Nelson, I think folks don't understand how technical sometimes starting a business can be, from protecting your name to registering your business, to what taxes you do, to what kind of insurance you need, to what are the different certifications that could propel your business from small business to women's business to disadvantaged business. And so help folks understand what types of programs and services you all offer that could help them move forward. When you say about paperwork, I see your QuickBooks training all the time. And so tell folks what you have to offer for them, for one, to be aware of all the things they need to think about, and 2, to understand that they can get support and technical assistance.
Correct. Every business in this country is regulated. I hope everybody understand that. Even if you have a lemonade stand that gives you more than $400, as soon as you make $400, you're going to be regulated by somebody. So we need to understand for the type of business they have, what regulations comes behind it. And you can only get that by sitting with somebody that understand business, had gone through the same process. Unfortunately, sometimes we tend to think, well, if I go to the website of the city, that's enough. That's not enough because the city regulates you at the local level, but you still need to have obligations at the federal and the state level. So you need to understand what business am I getting into and what are the requirements. Great resource is the SBA. So the SBA.gov is a great resource for everybody. It's in Spanish and English, very easy to use because it gives you a broad overview. Other great resources are organizations like us. I have a Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber just focuses in routing resources for businesses. So we will give you neutral information that you can use, and then you decide which service providers you want to pursue. The Latino Entrepreneurial Network, on the other hand, does all the education. So we make sure that people who want to start a business, that they get oriented through one of our mini seminars. Sometimes they're 1 hour, an hour and a half, in which you learn about how to start a cleaning company, how to start a contracting business, how to start a restaurant. So you can take a calculated risk. So it's necessary that you orient yourself and you educate yourself before you put any cent forward to anybody. No matter how great the idea looks, no matter how much money you're going to make, is your money. You work for it. Don't risk it without knowing what you're getting into. And then the other pieces are, once I start running the business, I start realizing I have other needs. And you need to have an accounting system. You need to understand how to sell better, how to deal with difficult clients. And we offer those trainings to different venues, through the Institute. There are other organizations like WEBIC that offer some training. The university system has some good training too. So you need to understand, once you go in business, you're learning every day, because when you less expect it and you think you know it all of a sudden the governor changed a law that affects my business. The city changed the process of licensing. Now I have a new requirement because, the municipality wants us to have this particular equipment. Quick example is, for instance, the hood in a restaurant. So we get some different codes for hood in restaurants that are newer. So a restaurant that has been closed for more than 2 years is grandfather. So they might have a hood that is not up to code. Now you get the restaurant thinking everything is okay, it's all equipped. The inspector comes in and says, this hood doesn't work because 2 years ago we changed the regulations and code, and you end up with a bill for $40,000. So things like that are important. So continue to educate yourself, pursue resources that are credible, and understand before you invest what that business requires.
So how much does it cost, Nelson, for example, for some of those programs and services and training?
Okay, the cost varies. Like the chamber right now has a coaching program. It's totally free through April 21st because it's fully funded. The Latino Entrepreneurial Network orientation sessions are $5, so they're very affordable. Obviously, with COVID, we haven't done many recently, but we're going to start our virtual education in August. And then training in QuickBooks accounting varies from $89 to $300, depending on the duration of the training. So you're looking for something short and sweet, it could be as cheap as $59 for a one-day seminar. But if you're looking really entrenched training, and we have programs that are 9, 10, 11 weeks, those will cost a little bit more, $300 range. And there's plenty of good training. I have put a lot of good training in other organizations in YouTube. So I have a lot of information in Facebook about how to start a business, how to start a food business, how workers' comp works for many folks that have a lot of issues with insurance. So there's plenty of affordable resources for you.
That's great to know. And are folks able to get training from you all in English and other languages?
We do training in English, Spanish, Spanglish, and then we have done training with other organizations, like we train refugees from Burma, Somalia with interpreters. and it worked very well.
So folks, very affordable, very accessible information, programs, and services. The other benefit that I know, Nelson, from getting services from you all is that you also then get the support and experience of peers who are going through the same processes and opportunities to exchange business and share resources. And so there's that part of the business environment that I appreciate what you do, that you enter a network of community that's doing what you're doing. And go ahead.
I was just going to affirm that that's extremely important. That it's not only the learning piece, but it's also having the support network. What makes us different is that we combine those. We combine opportunity by connecting you with tangible opportunities in the market. We provide the opportunity to connect with 4,000 businesses that have gone through the same process you have, in addition to that learning experience.
Will you quickly list the different incentives or certifications locally that help businesses grow? I know I named some earlier, but will you share with people, and that you give support for people to get those certifications as well?
Correct. So the government is mandated, especially depending on the funding, to spend so much money on minority, woman-owned, and veteran businesses. Also, in some instances, in disabled individuals' businesses and LGBTQ. So it's important for businesses to grab or apply for certifications that allow you to access or get that preferential treatment in bidding and allocation of contracts. Locally, we have a program with the city of Milwaukee that is valid in a 4-county region: Ozaukee, Waukesha, Milwaukee, and Washington, I believe. And you can get preferential treatment when the city is issuing contracts for you. So let's say they're looking for a construction or a fixing or a whole block of houses. They want a roofer. If you're certified as a minority, as a small business entity with them, then you get preferential treatment. You can be a little bit higher on your bid versus somebody else, and you can get the bid instead. There's also the county system, which have a program which is disadvantaged business enterprise, and that is based on disadvantage. So the disadvantage could be race, access to education, you could be disabled, you could be a Caucasian female, it doesn't matter. But once you get certified through that program, you get access to a special loan fund, to education, and special opportunities. And the state has something similar as well.
All right, I'm going to ask you to share what kind of extra support is available because of the pandemic or COVID-19, while I invite our viewers to say hello, to chime in and let us know that they're here, and to ask any questions before Nelson's, we say goodbye to Nelson today. So I invite you to say hello and share your questions. Nelson, did we get extra support locally for entrepreneurs because of COVID, or what exists there?
Yeah, we have, and we will continue to do so. We receive support from the federal government, which is still available. So you have a small business, you're self-employed in that business, or you have employees, you can still apply for the PPP loan, which is through a bank. So you can go to your local bank and request those funds. The advantage of that loan is only 1%, okay, but it's also forgivable. So you use that loan exactly for what you say you were going to use, for payroll, for utilities, then that loan gets forgiven. You don't need to pay it back. If you don't use it for that, you use it for something else, then you still have a loan at 1%, which is nothing. The chamber still has a program, Más Fuertes, and Más Fuertes is a combined program. So you get a micro loan up to $3,000, and half of that loan is forgiven if you use it for payroll or rent. So that means that you get a loan for $3,000, but you only have to pay back $1,500. So that's a good product for somebody who's looking for a small amount of capital just to get over the hump. The state just finished their grant program, and they're looking at potentially open another program, a secondary program to that one, probably in the fall. So you need to be paying attention to those things. And economic injury disaster loan still available, and that's also has a portion that is a grant. So you haven't tapped into those resources, I strongly suggest you do. Almost every chamber has created some type of program or a loan program that doesn't have the same credit requirements you will have from a bank. So I strongly suggest that if you haven't connected and you still need a resource, you can visit our webpage where we have information, or you can call our hotline, which is I'm sorry, 414-888-2270, and we can route you based on your need to the right correct place.
All righty, folks, and Nelson, that concludes our time today. We appreciate your partnership for the week, and especially helping individuals and businesses understand how they can survive during this time, or take advantage of the opportunities. Thank you, Nelson. Stay safe.
Thank you, you too.
All right, folks, I'm going to hand the program back to Gabe.
As usual, Nelson gave us some really great information. I feel ready to start my own business. No, I'm kidding, but that was a lot of great info. So very thankful to him and to Tammy for that great conversation. It looks like folks are being shy today and not trying to comment that they're here, even though we can see there's 14, now 13 people watching. We can't see who's watching, but we can see the number of people watching. So just say hi. All we want to know is that you're here and that you're here with us, and just say hi back to you. So feel free to comment in our comment section so we know you're there. And then I don't see any comments for Nelson, but if any do pop up, you can absolutely make them in the comment section, and we'll be sure to get that info to folks. Or probably the next time he's on, he can answer it as well. But since I'm not seeing anyone, Stacy says hi. Hi, Stacy. And then Carlos is also watching. Hi, Carlos. Also, Charlie. Hi. Thank y'all for saying hi. Good to know you're there. But yes, I will now welcome on Marlene, our coronavirus coordinator, to talk about some COVID numbers and remind us of our mask up challenge.
Hello. Hi, everyone. So firstly, I'd like to start off by mentioning our mask up challenge. So in partnership with UCC and 16th Street Clinic, we want to challenge you and your family members and friends to take a selfie wearing a mask and post it on your social media platforms, as well as tagging 3 of your friends so they can also pledge to wear their mask everywhere they go. So in this photo here, we have a bunch of our youth that have pledged to wear their mask everywhere they go. We also have Tammy Rivera in the corner. I just had to fit her in there. So yeah, that's the mask up challenge. Keep yourself safe, keep your friends and family safe as well. Another thing I'd like to say is that the Milwaukee Health Department has finally released some information about where you can go to get free masks. So you can go to the following locations: the Health Department Administrative Office, the Keenan Health Center, Northwest Health Center, and the Southside Health Center. And we will be posting those in the comment section, so you can go right to those, as well as the Facebook link to the article where that was found at. This is all free masks are being administered due to the mask ordinance that was put in place about 2 weeks ago, I believe. And you can check out the mask ordinance information at the city.milwaukee.gov, and we will post that link as well. So now I'm going to give you some COVID-19 data updates. So I'm going to share my screen, so just bear with me here. All right, and first of all, we have the confirmed case counts in Milwaukee. So I'd like to give you a broad overview first. So from last week to this week, we've jumped 2,000 cases so far overall in Milwaukee, and we stand at 17,162. The deaths from last week were 365, and the deaths this week overall are 374. So they've gone up quite a little bit. Just a reminder, a lot of these cases, a lot of the cases from the Latino OAX community are located in the 53215 zip code, which remains to be the highest zip code of COVID-19 cases right now. So please wear your masks to help prevent any other cases from happening. If you look at cases by race, you'll see that the Latinx community is still at the highest. The Latino OAX community is the highest. The Black community is at 4,964, and the white community is at 4,539. The Latino OAX community is at 5,610, which means that actually has gone up quite a lot. It's gone up about 600 cases since last week. The Black community has gone up about 500 cases, and the white community has gone up by about 700 cases. So there's a lot that we have to consider here. The total deaths by race are actually similar to, they're actually the opposite to how many cases there are. So for the Latinx community, they have the lowest number of deaths, and then the Black community comes second, and the white community is the highest. But that doesn't mean that, cases are really rampant right now, and everybody needs to try to remain safe and to try to social distance. And then finally, I'd like to let everyone see the chart here for age range. So this is cases by age range, starting from ages 0 to 80 plus years old. If you look at the chart here, you'll see that 20 to 29-year-olds are the highest number of cases in Milwaukee, standing at 4,000 cases right now. The second age range that's the highest is 30 to 39, standing at 3,300. And then the third highest is 40 to 49 years old, which stands at 2,600. That does not mean that these cases are not, just because these cases are so high, it doesn't mean that there are deaths that are correlating with them, but it does mean that these cases at such a high rate could cause more deaths. So remember that you need to think about that when you're going out and you're socializing with your friends and you're gathering together and congregating. It's important to think, is it worth it right now? Is it worth spreading this virus and decreasing the chances of, fully regaining, being able to open up again and feeling safe when we actually can one day hang out with family and friends. If you do also look at the chart, ages 10 to 19 years old, which is the teenage years, that's actually gone up quite a bit since last week, and it stands at 1,600 cases right now. So let me just go back here, and we're going to stop sharing. So all that being said, I'd like to let everyone know that there are testing centers out there for everyone to utilize right now. The UMOS testing center is open tomorrow, Saturday, in the morning, and you can go get tested there and make sure that you are not, COVID positive. So we have all of that information in the comments section. There's also the North Side has a center at the Barack Obama School. Ooh, sorry. In Wisconsin, you can schedule an appointment at certain Advocate Aurora locations. So you can do that at the website that we're gonna put in the comment section, or you can call 877-819-5034. This is covered by Medicaid or Medicare if you do have that. And in Milwaukee, also there are other testing sites like the Shalom Healing Center, which is located more on the east side. So if you do see that there's a lot of people that are on the south side of Milwaukee's testing center, you can definitely go there and try to get tested as well if you have some time to do that. Other testing site information can be sent to your phone if you text health info to 898-211, or you can call 211 and you can get some health information, and 211 can tell you which testing center is closest to your address. That's all that I have for everyone today, but I hope everyone has a good day and you wear your mask everywhere you go. I'm not wearing my mask right now, even though I am in the office, but that's because I am not around anyone. And I disinfect where I'm sitting and the doorknobs before I leave. So nobody else comes to the office on a daily basis. I'm honestly the only person that comes here, but I continue to remain safe. Just wanted to let you guys know that, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you for sharing that you are staying safe even while in the office. We appreciate that. We have a policy right now that only one person is allowed in the office at a time, so no mask necessary. Thank you for that, and for reminding us to disinfect doorknobs and to wear our masks. We also had a few other people say hi. I guess my guilt trip helped. Marianne, hi, glad to have you back. And then Jessica is also with us. Thanks for commenting and letting us know you're listening. I'm gonna go ahead and share my civic section now, which is gonna be some early voting information. So early voting is gonna start on Tuesday and go till August 9th, so July 28th till August 9th. And I'm going to share the locations of those. So you can do early voting, is also called in-person absentee voting, because you essentially fill out an absentee ballot in person. But there's way less crowds during these days because it's spread out over a long period of time, right? So there is the Zeidler Municipal Building where you can go, Manitoba School on the south side, and then the Midtown Center on the north side. And those days are going to be Tuesday, July 28th, like I said, till Sunday, August 9th, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and then Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then there are also some other locations that are more limited. So we have Southside locations for limited voting are Bayview Library, Mitchell Street Library, Tippecanoe Library, and Zablocki Library. And the limited location means that it's one voter at a time. So there might be some short lines, but it might be even more safe because only one voter is allowed in the space at a time. And those are also more limited in the times they're available. So only Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. for those locations. But same dates, July 28th through August 8th for those locations. And also, speaking of the election, the Judiciary and Legislation Committee on Monday voted to approve 2 resolutions that would authorize the city to get about $2.4 million in grant funding to ensure safe and secure elections for August and for November. And essentially, these will be providing funding for the increased cost of postage and operating costs due to higher levels of absentee voting. So like I've said before, the absentee ballot envelope is prepaid, and that's prepaid by the city. So this grant will help offset some of those costs to the city. It will also then fund some personal protective equipment to keep poll workers safe and voters safe. It will help fund poll worker recruitment. Like I said in a previous forum, we're set to have 170 polling locations for the August election. And so poll worker recruitment is super important to make sure that those locations are staffed so we don't have to close any of them. And have another nightmare like what happened in April when only 5 locations were open. And then that will also go towards the $100 raise for poll workers. So you can make $230 a day being a poll worker, and they are still accepting applications. So feel free to fill out that application on the Milwaukee Election Commission website. And then something else I wanted to mention was that the Wisconsin Public Service Commission voted this week to extend the moratorium, or who received a letter from the Common Council urging them to extend the deadline to stop utility shutoffs. It was voted to pass today. So there is an extended moratorium on utility shutoffs until September 1st. So don't worry about any of your utilities getting shut off or energy getting shut off until September 1st for those who are having a difficult time paying those bills right now. And then I'm just going to go right into some census information. So in 2010, the census counted about 309 million people in the United States. And as of this week, we have already met 330 million people and counting, right? So it will be interesting to see how many more people there are in the States after the census is completed, but we still have so many more people to count, as we've seen with these hard to count maps that I've been sharing. There are still some areas that aren't even close to 50% responded for the census. So there's definitely more people to count, so keep counting. And then I mentioned this on Wednesday, but there was, President Trump signed a memorandum that would exclude undocumented immigrants from the census, or exclude them from being counted in the numbers. But I just want to encourage everyone to continue doing the census, because he has tried to do things like this in the past that would discourage undocumented immigrants from being counted in the census, and it did not pass. It was not constitutional, so he wasn't successful in that. And there are so many organizations that have already started suing because of this memorandum that was signed. And so it's very unlikely that it will have success, and it will be unconstitutional to not count those who don't have papers. So please continue filling out the census. Don't let this tactic of his scare you away, because there's also no way to know from the census questionnaire whether or not the person who's filling it out has papers or not, because there's no question on the census questionnaire that asks about citizenship. So there's no question that asks for social security number. There's no question that asks if you're here with documents or not. There's no question that asks that of people. So filling out the census won't expose you, and your information is safe anyway. It is legally safe by law from the Census Bureau. So please don't let this tactic of Trump scare you from not filling out the census and not counting yourself as a member of this community, because all of us are such important members of our communities. And for me, it shows even more how important the census is that he would take this tactic, because the more people that get counted in each community, the more money that those communities get from the federal government, and the more political power they are granted in the whole political process. So please continue filling out the census. I will continue talking about it and encouraging everyone to fill it out. So again, don't let anything you may have heard about this executive order discourage you from filling out the census, because your information is safe, and through the census questionnaire, there's no way for them to know if the person that fills it out is documented or not. Okay, and finally, I am going to just go over some quick numbers that I do every Friday. So I'll zoom in real quick, and I'll just do this quickly so we can see which census tracts have grown in their response rates. So we have this one here. Let me zoom in a little more so y'all can see. We have this section here which is Pierce Street to Scott. And just for time, I'm not going to say the streets, but you can get an idea. This one's at 37.1, which went up 4 points from last week, so that's good. Next one we have at 36.4, so that also went up just a point, or 0.1, I should say. This one, which is south of Scott, is 36.4, so unfortunately that did not increase at all from last week. Here we're at 33.2, which went up 0.2% from last week, so that's good. Oh, we've got a 40. Let's go. So this should actually be yellow, because if you can see over here on the right, 40 to 50% should be yellow. So hopefully that gets updated soon enough. But congratulations to, what streets are this? Mitchell to Beecher between 16th and like 24th or 23rd. Y'all are officially in the yellow. That doesn't mean you should stop your efforts to getting people to do the census, but congratulations. Hopefully that will be yellow next week then, because y'all did make the 40%. This one's at 37.8, which went up 0.2 since last week. Continuing on, 36.6. This went up 0.3%. We're at 37.1, which went up 0.1%. Down here between Beecher and Lincoln and 16th and 23rd, we're at 35.5%, which is the highest jump we've seen, almost 0.5%, 0.6% it went up, which is very worthy of congratulations. So snaps to you all that live in that area. Moving on, 36.2 went up 0.2%, and finally we have 39.4%, which also went up 0.1%. So we're slowly ticking up in these census tracts in these neighborhoods. Super excited for this area here that is now in the 40, and this one right here is almost at 40. Down here between, I think, Arthur and Beecher, that is. So continue to encourage folks to fill the census out. And it's great because 10 of 11 of these census tracts did increase their percentage of people who have responded to the census. So that's awesome. I realize we're going super over time, but I am going to welcome on Clarissa, who's going to talk about some really important information as well regarding housing and energy. Hey,
Hi. How are you doing?
I'm great. Go ahead and share the info you got for us.
Sure. Well, thank you for that updated information on the moratorium, because I was really worried about that, especially for a lot of the residents that we're working with on the near south side. I want everyone to know and to be aware that there still are funds available for energy assistance. If you have not applied for energy assistance from October of last year till now, apply for energy assistance. If you have and you still need some kind of help, there is some monies there with energy assistance, either through community advocates or through SDC for COVID relief. So I strongly encourage all of our residents that are watching that may need this help to apply for it. Everything is done over the phone. You can make your appointment online or calling in, and then everything, they'll set it up. They'll call you, and then you'll just have to take a screenshot of your information and send it back to them. So you will have no contact, no physical contact with anybody with the energy assistance program. I also would since I can't see if the number's been shared for community advocates, their phone number is 414-449-4777. And the number for SDC for energy assistance. The main number is 414-906-2700. Don't wait till September 1st.
Right. Definitely get ahead of that.
Get ahead, it's better to be ahead than behind. And those census numbers are looking pretty good. I'm excited about that. And also this.
Yes, talk about it.
Let's make sure these are the ballots for everyone that lives in my house. My son hasn't filled his out yet, but my husband and I did ours, and we're ready to go. We're ready to get this ball rolling. We're excited as well that there are more sites open for voting for people that can venture out and are willing to venture out if they want to do that, but also that these came early instead of 2 days after an election. So we were excited about that as well.
I really appreciate you showing your absentee ballots, and especially for everyone in your household. A household of voters is what we love to see. So thank you for sharing that.
It's a rule to live in this house. You must vote.
Good. I love it. That's a good rule. Those who can should. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Claudia. Anything else you want to share?
Nope. I think that's all for right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Weekend.
Thank you.
You too. All right, folks. I am going to wrap it up as we are a minute past 4 p.m. now. And just to remind everyone that next week we're going to be focusing on racial justice. And we've got a whole stream of amazing guests that you won't want to miss for next week. And we are thankful to everyone that was with us this week for individual and business economics. Please wear your mask. Please wear your mask. It's so important. It's an easy thing to do to keep yourself and your loved ones safe. And even people you don't know, right? We all should care about everyone. So just wear a mask. It's not that hard. Take those deep breaths and remind yourself that you can breathe, as we learned this week. Thanks to a guest that Marlene brought on. And I will leave you all with a thank you video for our funders and for all of you.
Hello, SOC viewers. My name is Marlene Zaron, and I'm the SOC Forum Coordinator and the SOC COVID-19 Project Coordinator. We would like to thank everyone for supporting our 3 o'clock with SOC live show and for completing our SOC survey, in addition to thanking our residents for tuning in and sharing our show. We would like to also thank the following sponsors: Wisconsin Voices, Community Development Block Grants, Neo-Philanthropy State Infrastructure Fund, Movement Voter Project, Catholic Campaign for Human Development, Zilber Foundation, City of Milwaukee Office of Violence Prevention, Tides Foundation, Employ Milwaukee, and all the faithful individuals who support SOC through their personal donations. Thank you so much.